Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining us for another episode of BWG Podcast. I am your host, as always, Brett Bates, and join with me, likewise, as always, co-hosts Zach Goins.
Pleasure to be here.
Yeah, and Andrew the Wink Winkleman.
Howdy, howdy.
All right, so today we have a kind of a special episode for you guys. We're gonna get our captain of our Halo 5 esports team in here to talk about the Pro League qualifiers that happened this weekend and how our team did. I, of course, was on that team, but I would much rather have Austin do it because he has a radio background in school. I don't remember if it was high school or college, but
College,
yeah. So
Yep.
I would much rather him talk about it instead of me stuttering over my words. So we'll dive into this one. Zach, why don't you hit us off with the news so we can get that out of the way?
Sweet guys. So I looked over the IGN website today, and there's only really two big games coming out this week. One's a game and one's an add-on. The first game coming out this week is Homefront: The Revolution. Homefront 1 was pretty awesome. You lived in a North Korea-occupied United States where they had American citizens in internment camps and also doing work for them, and they were just kind of being held like prisoners. So the first one was kind of cool. I remember playing it for the 360, but the Revolution is coming out now, and I think this one is more focused on what happens, a little while after the North Koreans have taken over. So if you're into those kind of games, if you liked Homefront the first time, it's gonna be pretty sweet. Here's a little thing from IGN. Homefront: The Revolution drops you into a world where the United States has been occupied for 4 years. Immerse yourselves in high-stakes gameplay where you must lead the resistance movement and tactical guerrilla warfare against a superior North Korean force. And so this game dives into the open breathing world aspect of what so many first-person shooters and games are doing now. And so you're pretty much turning the civilian occupation into a guerrilla task force where you're trying to take out the North Koreans and defend yourself. So that's pretty cool. If you're into that kind of thing, pick it up. It's going to be a good game. I mean, Homefront, the first one, dropped in price pretty quick because not a lot of people picked it up. So it might be something to hold off on, but it's going to be a cool game. The second is something I'm really excited for, and I did not know it was coming out this week until I checked it out. Far Harbor Fallout 4, the next add-on is coming out. I have the season pass, so I'll be playing that. I'll let you guys know how it goes.
Interested in that.
But Far Harbor, I think it even takes place on a different part of the map because from the trailer that I was watching, it looked like they went to a completely new area. So there's going to be new guns, new enemies, new armor. Everything is going to be new. So
yeah, it's a big expansion. Pretty
yeah,
much.
it's going to be huge.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and so like I said, I have the season pass, so I'll be downloading that and playing it. That comes out on the 19th. Homefront comes out on the 17th. So this podcast is being recorded on the 15th. So
Tuesday.
Monday the 16th. You got a couple days to wait.
Mm-hmm.
So they're gonna be pretty good. Also, I have a quick shout out to one of my work buddies. He said he only listens to the beginning part of our podcast to hear my voice in the news. So Aaron Sherwin, thanks for listening, bud. Maybe you'll. What'd you say? It's okay. I don't know. He says he likes my voice. I don't know why. Just kidding. He didn't say that. I'm probably gonna hear it from a couple. But yeah, so that's the news for this week. I'm trying to see what. I think Wink. What did I'm saying a lot tonight. I'm kind of tired. What did Uncharted 4 get from IGN?
I think 9 something out of 10, and I think it was. I'm not sure if they do decimal points for their reviews or not, but it was,
they do for their TV shows. IGN does some. I would assume they did it for games too.
We got a 9.
9.3 or 9.5 out of 10 or something like that.
Straight 9.
Oh, is it straight 9? Okay, yeah,
Yep.
9 out of 10.
So we'll be talking about that game coming up, but 9 out of 10 from IGN. High regard. Amazing game.
Yeah.
Doom reviewed it because that came out the same day.
I do not know. I'll look it up and we can keep talking. So
Yeah, my guess. I'll just throw out a guess. I'm gonna think that I got in the 6 to 8 range. I bet I got
So
it. Well,
the game looked great.
6 and
it
an 8.
looks beautiful.
Well, like all the videos, I've never really been that interested in buying the new Doom. The arena multiplayer looks kind of fun. But what's funny is all the clips that have been hitting Reddit lately is all these little Easter eggs that it has. I mean, it's just dozens of them. It's great. Like one was a Terminator 2 Easter egg, or if you jump in the lava, like he slowly dies, and then right before he gets submerged, he sticks his hand up and puts his thumb in the air, and then dies. Just like in Terminator 2, or one where he's holding his little character of himself, a little doll, and he fiddles with the arms a little bit. He sets the arm up, sets the fist up, fist pounds it, and then blows it up. It's this little character of himself. It's just cool
awesome.
like that.
Well, there's an Easter egg as well in one of the levels where it turns into the first Doom, like graphics, like that hallway, and you fix the enemies in there. So I thought that was really awesome as well.
Yeah, it's all pixelated, then all of a sudden you hit a certain point,
and
then you see the new Doom, and it's visually startling how awesome it looks.
Yep. Did you find out what the review was, Zach?
It's in progress right now.
Oh.
It might be
so
the servers and stuff like that for the online
player. Yep. So
right away it says first impression wise, Doom strikes all the right notes. Like I said, I watched a guy play it the other day. Visually stunning.
It
gameplay pretty sweet. I wouldn't be surprised if it got like a 7 or 8 out of 10.
Yeah, I don't know if it's gonna have any sort of story or anything like that, or if that kind of gameplay kind of wears out. But visually, it looks really good.
Mm-hmm. Agreed. I know the chainsaw stuff is insane. Drew in chat, he bought it, and he's been trying to play it in the hardest difficulty, and he told me he rage quit a couple times.
It's so insane. It's because if you die at all ever, you restart from the beginning of the game.
Oh, really? That's the hardest difficulty?
Yeah.
What?
It's like Unreal. It's called Unreal Nightmare, I think. And so I watched a guy play it the other day, and he was running through this level, and as he's running through, this door shuts and kills him, and that was it. And he had to start all the way over. So he's just staring at the camera, and he drank his tea. Yeah, it was.
I'm assuming to get gold, get a platinum trophy on something like that, you have to finish that game like that, and the stress would be too high for me. Nope.
So and as soon as they give that a final score, we'll let you guys know what IGN gives it.
Running it at least.
I'm watching a video where it shows where it shows it on ultra settings.
Yeah.
On PC, it is beautiful.
Yeah, absolutely. So I know for this week we don't have any Ask BWG questions, but we still are taking those questions.
We're just going to retire that
on Twitter. But hashtag AskBWG if you guys have anything you'd like to ask us. We will check Twitter for any questions that you have, and we'll try to answer them on the podcast. Wings Trivia, we do kind of have a question.
So close. We're trying to figure out a way to word it so you can't just Google it. That's the tough part right now.
So
I gotta know exactly the subject and the question I want to ask. I just gotta tweak how I ask it now.
Yeah. So we'll probably have one for you guys next week. We were thinking about having it for this week, but we want to make sure we get the wording down.
Yeah, we don't want to just give away.
Right.
Yes.
Yep. So the prize, as always, will be a $10 gift card to the platform of your choice. And we'll get in contact with you. Yeah, right. Mm-hmm. So what we're going to do right now, we're going to take a short break. We're going to get Austin in here from our esports, the captain of our Halo esports team. We're going to get him in here. We'll be right back, and then we're going to talk to him about how the team did. So we will be right back. All right, and we are back, guys. Had a little bit of a technical difficulty, but everyone welcome Austin to the podcast. Austin Gravely is our coach for our Halo 5 esports team.
He's a captain. He's not the coach.
He's a captain, coach, same thing at this point. So I'm going to play also our recorded gameplay from today's tournament. It happened this afternoon. So I'm going to play that so you guys can watch it while we talk about it. All right, so Austin, today we participated in, well, actually, I guess I'll just let you take over. Explain to everyone kind of what we did today, how we did today, and kind of what you expect from the future.
So today and yesterday were the open qualifiers for the Halo Championship Series Pro League. This was the two tournaments for the teams that aren't quite Pro League caliber, who think that someday they might want to be pro team caliber, to get their feet in the door and get a shot at playing against these bigger teams. We played in yesterday's tournament and we played in today's tournament as well. Yesterday's tournament went about par of the course for his Bit Wars Gaming's historical performance. It went badly. We were quickly eliminated by a team who was able to play the maps perfectly and able to just keep us dying off the spawns. We didn't have really any chance to ever get any kind of footing on a map.
Maximum time permitted for recording your message. If you are satisfied with your message, press 1 to listen to your message.
That's
press
excellent.
2
awesome.
to erase and re-record. Press 3.
I don't even know what's going on.
I don't even know what's happening right now, to be honest.
Are you still there? You have reached the maximum time permitted for recording your message. You are satisfied with your message. Press 1 to listen to your message. Press
I don't
2
even know.
to erase and re-record. Press 3.
There's nothing on my end that shows a live connection to anyone else.
Literally do not
Are you
know
still
what's
there?
going.
You have reached the
He's gonna
maximum
keep
time
going.
permitted for recording your message. If you are satisfied with your message,
This is
press
hilarious.
1 to listen to your message. Press
Actually
2
awesome.
to erase and re-record.
All right, hold
Press
on.
3.
Let me see what I can do here. She says, "Are you there?"
You're
one more
having
time.
trouble.
Oh
your
my
message
gosh.
has been sent. Goodbye.
Okay,
Oh, there we
cool.
go.
All right, game on. Okay, sorry.
Oh, that was great.
So after that interruption from Cortana or a Covenant AI, depending upon which one you prefer to believe it to be, yesterday we did pretty badly. We were eliminated pretty quickly. Today,
Oh, did we lose
today
him?
literally happened. Today literally happened very last minute. We thought that we were going to have to sub one of our players, and thankfully that player was able to come through. And we thought, okay, we're going to go into this tournament without having any real practice at all. 20 minutes before the brackets loaded, everybody showed up, and we went to the Octagon to try to warm up a little bit. And then the most amazing thing happened. We got a bye on our very first round because we were the number 1 seeded team in the tournament, and it was awesome. Thankfully, the team that we got matched up against was a team that was pretty close to us in terms of skill. There were 3 diamond-ranked players, and then there was an onyx-ranked player, which matches our stats pretty closely. And we were able to take the first game by a pretty close game. As you're watching the footage in the stream right now, it's right around the 3-minute mark that we get a second cap and take the lead. And from that point onward, the hype is real. We are talking like crazy. That was probably the best moment I personally have ever had playing a Halo game was that hype moment. And then shortly after that, we go into an Eden Slayer game. And at one point in time, we have a 12-point lead. And then due to some really bad positioning at the worst possible time on our end, we basically divided the map in half with red and blue base on both sides of us. They spawned blue. They picked up a sniper rifle. And unfortunately, the guy that picked up the sniper rifle just happened to be a beast with it and went to work with it and destroyed us with it. And we ultimately lost that game. So the third game was a Plaza Strongholds game, and we were unfortunately not able to do anything there. There was lag involved. I know that's not a cop-out because everybody loses because of lag. It's always lag's fault why people lose in Halo. There was a little bit of internet issues at play in that last game, but they kept us pinned in at the yard stronghold, and so that's where we spawned, and they just farmed us every time we spawned. We couldn't get out to do anything. So it was a good day. I mean, we did the best today that we've ever done, and we almost had made it to the next round in the tournament, but unfortunately we just came up a little short.
Yep. Yeah, and it was, I felt like it was the best that we had ever worked together. It was the best that individual even. I think it was the best effort that us as individuals had given as well.
I would agree with that. I would completely agree with that.
Yeah. So, explain to us the Halo ranking system, because now everyone might be familiar with how, you said the Onyx and the Diamond ranked players. Kind of explain to us how that ranking system works and how you rank up, rank down.
Yeah, sure. So Halo 5's ranking system deviated from prior Halo ranking systems where in Halo 2 and Halo 3 you had a 1 to 50 rank system where as you won matches you went higher up in the food chain, and if you were ranked 50 in old Halos you were the king of the hill. You were the best of the best. In Halo Reach there was a little bit of a different system. Halo 4 had a system of its own. Halo 5, because Halo 5 has been so heavily geared towards the esports scene, they wanted to borrow from ranking systems that other esports games use. And so there are several tiers in Halo 5's ranking system, with bronze being the noobest of the noob players. If you are a bronze player, you're a scrub. You're absolutely a scrub. And then from bronze, you have silver players. And then after silver players, you have gold players. After gold players, you have platinum players, which at that point is kind of the middle ground. If you're a platinum player, you're either on the brink of greatness, or you're just a noob who just happens to be having a lucky streak. And then, no, Zach, that is not you. You beat yourself up too much. You are a great player. And then after platinum, you have diamond, which diamond is the last of the I guess you could call it the non-minor league ranks. Once you hit Onyx, which is the rank after Diamond, once you hit Onyx, you're basically in the minor leagues as far as the ranking system is concerned. As far as the competitive scene, you can be ranked Onyx and not have a clue what you're doing. But as far as the ranking system itself is concerned, once you hit Onyx, you're in the minor leagues, and the way the ranking system works at that point changes. From everything else before Onyx, your ranking system is largely determined by wins and losses. Personal performance has something to do with it too, but it's mainly how you do as a team in terms of winning and losing. Once you hit Onyx, though, it shifts more to personal performance. And then the top 200 players of any given playlist, the top 200 Onyx players of any given playlist are champion ranked, and champion ranked is the highest that you can get. So when I said that we were playing 3 diamonds and an Onyx, we were playing better than average players, and these players were not scrubs. They knew what to do. They knew how to play, especially that Strongholds game. They knew how to play that Strongholds game well. So in order to get to that kind of rank, you have to have some knowledge about how to play Halo as Halo. You can't just grab an SMG and then play it like it's Call of Duty or some other FPS. You have to know the game to be able to get to those ranks and hold those ranks. And so on our team, we have myself. I'm mid diamond. I kind of hover around mid diamond. We have Brett, who's diamond. Ian, who the account that Ian used is it says it's gold, but his main account is high platinum, low diamond. And then Travis, my brother, who is an Onyx player. And so it was pretty even as far as the ranks go in today's match, which we hadn't really had that in games prior. I think Brett can attest to the last season of HCS, where we were getting some of the most ridiculous matchings right off the bat. We were getting high Onyxes and champion ranked players right from the get-go. And yes. I think most of our tournaments last season, I don't think we had an even match our first tournament cycle earlier this year.
No, I think that because of how low seeded we always got, we ended up playing people who went to the quarterfinals at least. I think our first matchup, so it really didn't give us a whole lot of experience, because we just got how bad we got pounded. You can't really take a whole lot away from a beating that bad.
Yeah.
The first season, you guys, I remember last season, you guys, I mean, that was when I was still kind of hovering around, maybe playing with you guys, and we got matched up. You guys got matched up ridiculous, like just I don't want to say out of your league, but definitely out of your league players who just, I mean, you guys were still new last year though, right? Like,
yeah, even if we had better seeding last season, we still would have probably have done just as bad, because we didn't quite know how to play some of these maps correctly. We're playing everybody is playing the meta game of Halo better than they ever have been. I honestly don't believe that we play any of these maps now the same way that we played them last season, because we were always reevaluating our strategies, and what we've got now is working. But with these coming playlist tweaks that they're about to roll out on us, it looks like we might have to go back to the drawing board on most of them.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so kind of explain to us, for people that don't know, what exactly metagame is, because this is a term used in most esports. So kind of explain to us what is metagame.
So in esports, there's two point of views. There's the in-game point of view, and then there's the metagame point of view. If you're watching the stream right now, you can see Brett's in-game view. It's just Brett's view. You can't see necessarily where everybody else is at. You definitely can't see where the enemy team is at. And so Brett is on the bottom shelf as far as the view is concerned. But metagame is basically the bird's eye view, but with a little bit of philosophy behind it as well. If you watch League of Legends or Dota in particular, all that is basically metagame. There's no in-game cameras, kind of like a first-person shooter per se. If you watch League of Legends or games like that, all you see is the top-down, and the casters are the ones kind of interpreting what's going on the match at any given time and breaking down who's doing what pushes are being made, what strategies are going on at the moment, and then if anything big happens, what are the implications of that? So metagame is partially bird's eye view. I mean, you're looking top down and figuring out what you need to do as far as where you need to be, but it's also on paper philosophy behind why you're doing what you're doing. Why are you pushing on that side of the map? Why are you taking a flag on a certain side of the map? Or which two strongholds in Halo's case are you going to try to really hold? These are things that you have to know going into a game so that you can pull them off. And if you don't know them, then you're done. I mean, you're going to be screwed, because the teams that play competitively, that's just as important to them as it is having a good KD. The thing really that separates pro players from casual players is metagame. Is being able to understand the top-down and philosophical view of a game rather than just having raw skill or talent. And so we're getting better at our metagame. We've got good talent. Travis is a phenomenal player. Brett is an excellent guy when it comes to getting assists, and Ian is a fantastic player as well. So we've got talent. We're just working on getting our metagame to where our talent matters.
Brett's good at almost being really good at the game, but he just comes up a little bit short in those assists.
well, and that's another thing too, is that when it comes to metagame, assists actually, I might say that assists actually might be the most important stat in a Halo game, because assists signifies teamwork. If you've got a player who is getting a bunch of assists, he may not be getting a lot of kills, but he's getting a lot of assists. That's a team player. If you've got a guy who's just getting a bunch of kills who isn't getting any assists, not necessarily saying that he's not a team player, but he's also not assisting in that he's not getting shots in other places that his teammates can go pick them up. Now, maybe he's just winning every single firefight, and if that's the case, that's fine. I think it was there's a Halo coach, and I can't remember which one off the top of my head, who remarked that he would rather have a player go 0, 15, and 10, have no kills, 15 assists, and 10 deaths. He would rather have that than some other situation where he has 20 kills and 20 deaths. That assists really are the most underrated stat in competitive Halo, or just playing Halo in general. If you don't think assists matter, they really do. And Brett is excellent at getting them. We call him Captain Assist for a reason, because he consistently has double-digit assists in every game.
That's what I do. I just put a couple shots in someone, and then I'm rotating around, find someone else. Yeah, then I tuck tail.
That's awesome.
I'm out of there.
And you don't give away deaths, which if you're a Call of Duty player, spraying and praying and just trying to solo gun your way through, that might work in Call of Duty, but you can't do that in Halo. You got to prioritize surviving.
Yep.
All right, absolutely. So I have a question for you guys, and this is going to be also probably answering a lot of other people's questions. What is the main difference? And I want one. I know there's going to be a whole plethora of answers that you guys can answer, but common Halo play to competitive Halo play. Austin, before we met you, you tried to get something going. You were kind of just a common player. I was a common player. Brett is a common player. Wink messes around with it every once in a while. But I mean, even him, like when he plays with us, we kind of go to a different level. What is the major difference between casual Halo play and the level that you guys are now playing at? Because I think a lot of people are thinking like, oh, esports, like it's becoming a thing. Anybody can do it. Like, why cannot everybody do it? What's the difference?
Probably right off the top of my head, the biggest difference between a casual player and a competitive player is the fact that a casual player is playing with a team. And that team dynamic is not just 4 random people or a group of friends. These are teammates on the same level as playing any other sport, where you are going to be doing everything as a team. You're going to be playing as a team. You're going to be working together as a team. So I think right off the bat, the thing that separates the two is the team aspect, the existence of a team in of itself. When I tried to put a team together for the HCS season before, Brett invited me to the Bitwar team. I didn't necessarily have teammates that I knew what they played like, how they played, how they knew how I played, and vice versa. So the team aspect is what really is the door that you have to enter through if you want to get to the competitive side. If you can't find a team to play with, it doesn't matter how good you are, because once a single person does not win a game, especially in competitive Halo. Yeah. That one single person cannot win a game in competitive Halo, and if you think that's the case, like you're not ready, because you will cause your team to lose if you think that's the case.
Indeed, yeah. Most of the time, players like that, they just find themselves running around and getting 2v1, 3v1 a lot, and it ends up not being very good.
They play Halo like it's Call of Duty.
Yes, they sprint straight line until they see someone, and then they just try to hold the trigger down and hope they come out okay.
Yeah.
So, last question that I have for you. The future of us in particular, Bitwar Gaming's team, the outlook that you have for the future, what would you say you have for that?
Well, as far as the long-term future, I think that the Bitwar team, in whatever form it takes, has something. I don't necessarily know how much longer I have as far as being able to play in this scene. I've got some life changes coming down the road here in a couple of months that I can't necessarily say one way or another if I'm going to be able to continue playing or not. But I know that the team itself and the organization itself is definitely going to be able to keep pressing forward into the competitive scene. But for us going into the summer season of the Challenger League, today really was the confirmation that we needed, that we are ready to begin consistently playing at a competitive level. For the time being, we've kind of stayed away from playing in tournaments and pursuing tournaments and pursuing game battles ladders or whatever ladders that might be available to us, solely because we felt that we needed to grow as a team and that we needed to congeal as a team and get our meta game down, figure out what we're going to do, what are our strategies for any particular game. And now I think we've reached the point where that's no longer necessary for us, that we can begin taking on the competitive scene because we know what we're doing. I think we are definitely congealed as a team, that we don't need to necessarily pursue that point any further. So as the Challenger League begins, we don't know all the final details of what the Challenger League looks like. We don't know if it's going to be tournaments. We don't know if it's going to be ladders. We're not quite sure what that's going to look like yet. But the Bitwar team is definitely going to be active in pursuing whatever opportunities that we might have to invest further into the competitive scene and not rely so much on random matchmaking. Random matchmaking's got its perks and its usefulness, don't get me wrong. But there's only so much that it can give compared to playing actual other teams, actual structured, organized teams who are doing the same thing you're doing and are maybe doing it a little bit better. So for the summer season, I'm extremely confident that we will be able to start registering wins, that we'll be able to start getting scrimmages against other teams, and that in general, the Bitwar team will begin to have a presence in the competitive scene. We didn't really have one in the early season this year with the Halo World Championships because we were such a new team, but I think we're at the point now where we're able to make statements against other teams, and that we're able to get wins, and we're able to move through tournament brackets, and that we're able to win scrimmages and other games like that. So I'm extremely confident. I think today was the confidence boost I personally needed to say, yes, we are capable of playing at this level. Yes, we do have a future in this scene, and yes, we're going to keep doing it. I think the only place for us to go at this point is up, really.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
Yeah, and I definitely agree. I think today was, it was kind of like you said, just a confirmation that our team, all the hard work that we've done, all the shuffling of roster that, voluntary and involuntary, sometimes it was unavoidable.
Oh my gosh.
It kind of, like you said, it really kind of sealed that, hey, we can do this. Sure, there's some wrinkles we need to iron out. We need to put a couple more hours into practicing some certain aspects of our team play, but
definitely
we can hang. When we're in the zone, when we play a map correctly, we can hang.
If we can consistently reach the degree of communication that we achieved at the very end of the Fathom CTF game that we played today, we will kick butt.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we will straight up kick butt if we can start consistently communicating at that Super Saiyan. I don't know what else analogies to summon level, but like once we got that second cap, it's like everybody just went Super Saiyan communications wise, and it was glorious.
Yes. Yep, and you can watch this replay as well on my Twitch channel, twitch.tv/Groove44. I also uploaded it to my YouTube channel, so you can search for Groove44 as well on YouTube and get these videos. And you can hear our communication in that match, and that it really was pro caliber, I think. So
definitely.
Zach, Wink, do you guys have any last questions?
What I see is the pistol back to being the most important gun?
That is a great question. Yes, it definitely, I would say, is one of the most important guns to be able to use. A little bit of background as far as my Halo play goes. I didn't play Halo 2 or 3 online. I played a little bit of Halo 4 online. Literally, the majority of my Halo multiplayer has been Halo Combat Evolved for the PC and then Halo 5. So I've got the best of both worlds as far as the overpowered Magnum of Halo 1 versus what the Magnum is in Halo 5 now. And the Magnum is definitely an extremely important weapon because it can outshoot a DMR. It can outshoot a battle rifle if you're able to get the shots off correctly. It's a 5-shot kill weapon. It's not a 2-shot, 3-shot kill weapon like Halo 1. It's extremely useful in certain circumstances, and if you know how to use it, you can win fights with it. I'm a heavy pistol player because it's something I feel comfortable with. If I can count my shots as I'm making them and count the shots that land, I can work that math out in my head.
Never thought about that.
Yeah, if you can count your shots as you're making them, and if you can keep track of the ones that are landing, you'll know what to do. So if I know I just landed 4 shots, I'm going to feel a little bit more confident picking my head out and trying to get that last one. So the pistol in Halo 5 is definitely extremely important weapon. You go on Reddit and you go on Waypoint and you go on or YouTube comments and you see everybody's like, oh, we need to go back to battle rifle starts. No, battle rifle starts would break Halo 5. That's probably the best thing. One of the best things about Halo 5 is just how fine-tuned the sandbox is. But the AR and the pistol are very useful starting weapons. You're going to want to get new weapons eventually if you can. You're going to want to get a storm rifle or an SMG or a battle rifle. But if you have an assault rifle and a Magnum, you can still be an effective player, which is pretty fantastic, in my opinion.
Yeah, that was I haven't played Halo hard in a long time, but I do miss the effectiveness of a Magnum. That was my favorite part.
Definitely.
Yeah, I know. Like I had a buddy that 2 of them that used to travel for tournaments and stuff like that who. Probably the best Halo players I've ever seen, and they didn't enjoy the BR starts very much. I mean, they understood it, but they didn't enjoy it that much. So yeah, it's nice seeing watching Brett's play, seeing him use just the pistol most of the time was interesting to see.
Yeah, BR starts exist in big team battle with an assault rifle, and that's fine for big team battle, but if they ever try to do BR starts in a competitive Halo setting, it will break Halo. The battle rifle in Halo 5 is probably the most powerful battle rifle in any Halo game, period. And so giving everybody that at the start would basically put it back to Combat Evolved with the ridiculously overpowered Magnum.
Yeah, which I think was a 3-shot if you got all headshots. The first 2 dropped the shields, and then it was a 1-shot headshot after that.
I miss those days so much. Those days were so much fun.
Yeah, you literally could be on Blood Gulch halfway across the map and like pop, 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 and kill.
Halo gave you this greatest weapon at the start of the game every time.
So I do have one final question for you guys. I got into a pretty good conversation with a friend yesterday about he thinks esports is a complete joke. He thinks that using the term sports thus verifies you guys as being athletes. And his points of reason were there is no, like, you know, he pretty much was like, oh yeah, well they don't really do anything mental. It's not really physical. Yeah, and I was like, dude, no, like I don't think you understand. And he's like, oh, video games will just be like, it was always fun for me. And I'm like, I understand where you think like you're not going to do competitive gaming because you've always played them as for fun. And I'm like, but and I disagree. I see you guys practicing 5 nights a week. I see the mental game. I see the physical game. You know, you said it the other day, Austin. We were goofing off, but you were like, Travis, don't eat a bunch of donuts, and that's not going to help him. Like, if you're going into a tournament, you got to eat healthy. You know, it's mind over matter. And so, I mean, I think I know your answer. I disagree with him. I think esports is becoming something. And I think I don't know, you know, you're not in the same realm as like an NBA athlete or a baseball athlete or a football athlete, but you guys are athletes in some sense of the word, you know? What do you think?
So there is actually a very interesting comment. And this is a bit of a deviation from Halo, but in Overwatch, which is coming out, I believe, next week. I played a little bit of the beta last weekend, and by the way, it's fantastic. If anything is going to pull me, if anything is going to pull me away from Halo, it's Overwatch. I'm just going to say that for the record. But one of the characters, I went back and I was reading the character's backstory, and for one of the characters, Diva, her backstory was she was a competitive StarCraft player. When her nation began going into war with another nation, and her nation was desperate for pilots for their mechs, and so they turned to the esports scene, to the competitive gaming scene, and they found her, and now she pilots one of their lead mechs. So obviously Blizzard had a little bit something to say about that.
That's awesome.
A couple of quick stats off the top of my head about esports. By 2019, esports will be raking in $1 billion annually. Like the whole entire scene will begin ranking in $1 billion annually. At the moment, close to 1/7 of the world's population, aka 1 billion people, either play in esports or watch it on a regular basis. Wow. So people that are like, oh, esports, you know, it's, you know, trying to legitimize something small. No, esports is huge. Esports is gigantic. The NFL, this was a funny story. The NFL, in their broadcast licensing meetings a couple of months ago, didn't put digital broadcasting on the table because they didn't think anybody was interested. And that's what all of their investors wanted, was digital broadcasting rights, because Twitch is where the money's at right now. Twitch's setup is what the NFL is moving towards at some point in time. So,
wow.
As far as esports not being athletic, I think that the more you look into that, that's just not true. Yes, I'm not going to be able to play football or major league major basketball or stuff like that. But if you look at the top esports teams, every single one of these guys is in shape. Every single team, and there was an article on ESPN about this, has a team chef that makes the healthiest meals that they can possibly make so that they are able to play at peak performance. They're not binging on donuts or soda or stuff like that. If you look at sponsors for esports, you don't see Doritos or Mountain Dew or junk food sponsors. You see reputable names sponsoring these teams, because health is such an important thing. When Travis and I played in a 2v2, Travis is Admiral Longhorn, one of our players on the team. He and I played in a 2v2 tournament probably about a month and a half, 2 months ago, and we had donuts for breakfast. And man, I felt awful by the time the tournament came around. I felt so sluggish. Yeah, words are hard. And we felt so terrible. no, I'm not going to be able to, compete as far as physical sports go. But I could not disagree anymore on the mental front. Playing in tournaments, especially in a tournament like we played today, is one of the most mentally taxing things that you can do. It's very, very mentally draining. And if you're listening to this and if you think I'm crazy, I would be more than happy to invite you into one of our practice sessions so that you can hear us talk to each other. You can hear us play in real time and think that, there's some serious brain work going on here. Yeah. And then I think, as I've been having these conversations in real life, I think the notion that sports have to be inherently physical is going to be dead within the next 5 years. I think when I make my case for why esports should be considered sports, the one objection that people always revert back to is, well, it's not physical. You're not throwing a ball. You're not kicking a ball. You're not running a ball. And that's true. I don't disagree with that. But when you compare esports teams to regular sports teams, and you see that the only significant difference between the two of them is that one is more physical than the other, I think the writing's on the wall there as far as whether or not esports should be a sport. If the overlap there is so strong and the only difference is the physical aspect of it, then why is it not a sport?
Yeah, I agree. I agree completely. I think esports is obviously I'm probably biased because I play in them, but I do think that, like, after today's tournament, I took a nap because I really was just mentally drained. I know there was a high that we had from winning, but I legitimately needed a nap because of how, like you said, there's so much mental brain work going on. Like, which of my teammates is alive? Where are they at? Where are they looking? Where is the most practical place where the enemy team is going to be coming from? And then on top of thinking about that, you have to make your hands, your thumbs, and your fingers do what you want your player to do in response to all that information in a very, very quick, timely fashion. It really does. It really does tax you.
A 1 second mistake can cost you the game. Yeah. That's not an exaggeration. A 1 second mistake or a 1 millimeter off shot can cost you the game. Mm-hmm. And you got to be able to constantly calculate at that level. Admiral Longhorn pointed out in the chat that Monster Energy Drink sponsors Evil Geniuses, and that all the players of EG have like Monster Energy Drink IV lines that they have in their bloodstream whenever they play. So I forgot about that part.
Yeah, well, they do have some not as bad for you drinks out there. But that they do for the most part have a lot of sugar and other crap in there. But yeah, so thank you so much, Austin, for coming on, especially after today.
No problem, guys. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, absolutely. We're going to go ahead and take another break while we say goodbye to Austin, and then we'll be right back, and Wink is going to give us a little bit about Uncharted 4 and how he's been playing it and his initial thoughts. So we will be right back. All right, and we are back. I just want to thank Austin again for coming on and talking with us and sharing his thoughts and answering our questions. And thank you to everyone. I know Ian and Travis are the other 2 players for our Halo team. Just want to thank you so much for even making it possible for us to get into esports and really make the impact that we have. So appreciate you guys a lot. And I know Travis would say, why are you guys turning into saps? But it really does mean a lot.
It really does.
Put in the time to play with us and be a part of our organization. So moving on, the last thing we're talking about is Uncharted 4 came out. I see a dog tail shaking there in the background.
May or not be a dog. Now you know.
So Wink is really the only 3 of us. Not really. He just is the only 3 of us that has a PS4.
Yep.
He has talked up this game series probably since the unveiling of the 4th game. And it came out last week, right? Last Tuesday?
Yep, correct.
And he has been playing it. He is 65, 75% of the way through it, probably.
No, not even that far.
No?
I'm less than 50 as of
Wow.
now.
Oh, that's
There's
right. That's right.
I think there's 21 chapters.
You're
and
right,
I
there
just
is.
got to chapter 10.
Okay.
So,
I thought you said you were chapter 16, but you said 10.
nope. 10.
Okay. And that, of course, game series is Uncharted, and the 4th game just came out, Uncharted 4. So, Wink, why don't you tell us a little bit about the gameplay so far? Warn us if you're going to drop spoilers. I watched the single playthrough, start to finish, because the dude, I think it's 12 and a half hours to beat it, but he literally just went straight through all primary story and kind of rushed through some parts. So, just kind of tell us about your impressions of the game, graphics, story, voice acting. Break it down for us and what you think.
It's everything I expected and then some, because the sole reason I bought a PlayStation 4 was to play this series, and then whenever The Last of Us 2 comes out, because Naughty Dog just does it better than everyone, and that includes Bungie, Activision, all of them. That they just do it better than anyone out there right now.
Yeah.
Visually, it is by far the most stunning console game I've ever witnessed. The cutscenes, the lighting, the face capture, like the motion capture on everything, the detail. It's mind blowing how good it is. This is what you kind of expect from a next gen. Well, I guess you could say current gen now. Like when last year when they released all the consoles and stuff like that, you see all these unbelievable cutscenes that never really end up working out when the game comes out officially. But of course, it's Uncharted, and Naughty Dog just always steps their game up. It's unbelievable how good it looks. This because I'm in chapter 10, so I've been to 3 different regions with completely different climates and scenes. So it's completely different from I was night in Russia one night, I believe it was in Russia, and then I think I'm in Africa right now, and so it's completely different color tones and textures and everything, and it's crazy how good everything looks. There's some new introductions to new characters, because this I believe is 8 years after the Uncharted 3, so everyone's a little bit older. Sully, Nate, all of them, everyone's a little bit older, and so I can't really go into too much of the story just because it's a spoiler-wise. But it probably might. It's probably the best-looking game I've ever played. I've already said that, but it might be my favorite game so far, other than The Last of Us, that I've ever played. Like it's starting to pick up with the story and everything, and just Nate and his brother, how they interact with everything. And so far, it's unbelievable. Like, if people are on the fence of buying a PlayStation, they really need to buy that PlayStation just for this game. You'll never regret it. It's unbelievable.
Wow.
Awesome. Yeah, and like I said, I watched a full playthrough because I'm on the fence about buying a PS4. I may never. That's why I wanted to watch a playthrough, just because there's been good games before, and Andrew, you have suggested and recommended those games to us, but you have never talked about a game like you have about this one.
Yeah.
The hype of it. So I was like, I have to give it at least a full watch through on Twitch and actually, watch someone from start to finish play this game, see how it ends up. And I will say that it did deliver. I would say that If I were going to buy an Xbox, if I was going to buy a PS4, it would be for this game series, just solely based on watching somebody else play this game.
Yeah.
So
like it's crazy to me how there's only one studio out there right now that consistently delivers on their games, and that's Naughty Dog.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't played a Naughty Dog game yet that hasn't had an amazing story and has looked great doing so, because there's usually, a lot of games you only have one or the other, and like especially with Halo used to be in that category too, where they always looked unbelievable, color and everything was in space, and then the story was great, the multiplayer was great, but with the last couple Halo games, it's been one or the other. Meanwhile, Naughty Dog is just churning out instant classics that will be talked about for years, because this is, I don't know what they plan on doing, because I'm assuming this is going to be the last Uncharted. I don't know if they're going to do another series like this, but it's unfortunate, but I can understand why they would want to move on to other projects.
Yeah, I think eventually, if you keep dragging out a story of the same characters, eventually it gets stale, and then if you never end it, there's never any, gamers aren't satisfied that there's a meaningful conclusion. And I also, I won't say anything about the conclusion until you finish it, Wink.
I haven't got that far yet. Because you kind of wonder with Halo, I mean, a huge 10-year plus franchise that millions and millions and millions of people play and love. I mean, how long can they keep Master Chief going? Can Halo survive without Master Chief? And after this last one, I don't know, man, because they tried pushing Locke and making him a big deal. It just didn't work for me. I don't know. It's gonna be interesting.
No, and I think that based on some Reddit forums that I follow, I think 343 has clearly gotten that message received.
Oh yeah,
that Locke is.
It's a double-edged sword, though, man. If they can try to drag out Chief, I mean, how many stories can you have with him? Without things getting stale. It's tough, but it's something they're gonna have to figure out sooner rather than later.
And I've said this in previous podcasts, so I'll just say it briefly again. I think that with the background that Spartan Palmer got in the Halo 5 comics and some of the cartoons, I think she would be a fantastic character to hand that franchise off to if they did it right.
There you go.
But not Locke.
No. Yeah, definitely not.
So
back to Uncharted. I haven't played the multiplayer yet, but I hear good things. Not too many gripes from me so far. Maybe it's just because I'm not a third-person shooter fan. The shooting doesn't seem as tight as previous ones. Now, that could just be, since I haven't played them in a long time, maybe it's just messing with my head a little bit. But the gunplay was never that strong in the game. A little bit more climbing than I expected. A lot of climbing puzzles where you have to kind of figure out which ledge to get to just so you can keep going up. There is a couple new mechanics, like sliding down these rocks paths in order to get to the next section where you have to steer yourself. And then a whole new grappling hook and rope system was introduced, which is just nice because they're good with their cameras, and because a lot of times with some games is the cameras can mess things up. Like in Resident Evil, the camera system was always terrible, and then you would know which direction you were going. The camera seems to do a good job especially with the grappling hook system. Like there's, dang it, I don't want to say it because it's so spoilery. I'll keep anything story wise out of this talk until I at least beat it, and then I can give a full review. But out of 9 out of 10, 10 out of 10 reviews, I'm right up there with them so far. I plan on finishing this week, so we can talk. I can give my full review next week, but it's lived up to my extreme unrealistic expectations so far.
So the guy I was watching stream, he only had two things that he didn't even say were necessarily negative, but just changes that he thought could have been different. He said, like you said, the climbing. He said they made it almost too much like Assassin's Creed, like the first 2 Assassin's Creed games. The climbing was just a lot of climbing, and he didn't. Not that he hated it, but he just wished that there was less of it.
Yeah, a lot of the map layouts are vertical. So in order to get to a next area with this tomb or whatever you're trying to look for, you have to climb up a mountain or a building to get there. So yeah, it is a lot like Assassin's Creed because you'll get to a ledge, and in order to find out which ledge you can get to next, he'll stick his hand out like it used to in Assassin's Creed to give you an idea. Oh, I can jump up and get that. If not, I'll jump and fall to my death. So. I mean, it gives you little hints like that, but yeah, it does remind me a lot of Assassin's Creed without the stuff you can actually fall on and survive.
Right. Jump out of a 60-foot tower and land on some hay.
A thinly packed bale of hay and you're fine.
Right. The other thing he said was there was a couple times he found himself not really sure where to go next. There wasn't a whole lot of direction in some levels on, like, where am I supposed to go? I have no idea how to get there. So that was really the only two things that he said that he wished were a little different.
I've run into that problem so far, and so far I've been lucky. Since I'm in Chapter 10, I'm at one part where you have to drive a safari truck, to your destination, and there really isn't, because all the Uncharted games are pretty linear. With this one, it's not as linear as past ones, so you can find yourself going in the wrong direction, and then like one time I thought I was just headed, I'll just drive over this small ridge and I'm sure that's where I got to go, and then I drove right off a cliff and died. So that's when I found out. I have to turn around and take a right here instead of a left. Yeah, so I could definitely see what he's talking about with that one too.
Yeah, but those are the only thing in the whole 12 and a half hour that he played it and beat it. Those are the only two things that he said. He said he didn't hate it because he likes the climbing aspect, and he kind of likes that you have to figure it out. But he just said that give me a little bit of guidance, and take away like a little bit of the climbing because it was excessive. There's, I don't know if you get to the part where you link back up with Sully. I don't know if you got into that chapter yet. Okay, that part where you're escaping.
You link back up with Sully.
Yeah, sorry, spoiler.
You see him in the trailers.
It's Metal Gear Solid 5 all over again.
No, not quite. But he said that in that part where you're escaping. He said there was so much climbing. By the end of the level, he said, I'm sick of climbing. Because he just didn't know where to go, and there was so much climbing.
Yeah, because in that part, you're climbing across rooftops and stuff. And there really is, like, you get to a part where it will show you which building you need to get to by pressing L3. And, I gotta get to, here's where the gate is. But there is no clear path to get there. You just kind of have to hope to find.
Yeah.
Connecting rooftops kind of that you can jump across. Yeah, he was right with that too. That was tough. Like a couple spots, I think I just got lucky on my guesses, Yeah.
So but overall, watching the game, I'd have to agree that I think it definitely deserves a 9 or 10 out of 10.
Yeah, it's truly unbelievable. Naughty Dog somehow I just cannot get over how consistent they are. Like you put out a thumper every 2 or 3 games, which is normal. It's hard to keep a story fresh and amazing, and I wish there was another studio out there that at least could come close to that, because there really isn't.
You're right.
I think I mentioned it a while ago. Like, this is good for the gaming industry, though, because if Naughty Dog is going to keep putting out incredible games like they have been, maybe a couple other third-party or main developers will be like, "Whoa, what the?" We got to start doing this. Okay, we got to start putting up a battle.
I wish I could agree with that, but friggin' Naughty Dog's been doing this since 2006, 7, so, and it's been 10 years now, and no other studio seems to be taking notice. So I would be surprised.
There's been a lot of studios that, as soon as they start to struggle financially, they cut out all single-player aspects of their game. They go multiplayer only because you can make a game in a third of the time that most of them said, or a third to a quarter of the time if there is no single player.
And then you worry about employing writers and stuff like that too.
Right, exactly.
But you saw games like Titanfall fail miserably, and so hopefully that gave them a little bit of notice. Hey, we can't just do stuff like that. It's got to be more.
Yep. But you're right. I think that I really hope that whatever Naughty Dog's next IP is, that they keep up this high quality of game.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Keep Neil Druckmann, give him the keys to the car like you always have, and then things will be fine.
Yeah, and I know that unless I get a PS4, I'll never be able to play them. But it was, even for me, it was like watching a movie. This guy played.
It really is.
It really is incredible.
It was that smooth. The voice acting was that convincing. The motion capture was spot on.
Yeah, it's high level across the board.
Yeah.
There's really no drop in any quality at anything in the game.
Absolutely.
Like there, every once in a while you'll have clipping or something like that, and I haven't really come across that at all.
Mm-hmm.
The voice is always in sync with the lip movement and the face. It's like the facial features and everything in cutscenes. It's just unbelievable. I really can't describe it any better than that.
Yeah, absolutely. I completely agree. So, I look forward to. I might watch it again on Twitch. I don't know though, because it was a good story, but it was just long to watch someone play through.
Yeah, this is by far the longest Uncharted game yet.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I'm assuming the new hardware has a lot to do with that.
Yeah, absolutely. They can do more, so why not? Why wouldn't they?
Yep.
I think they nailed it. So, that's all we got to talk about this week, though.
That's me.
Yeah, Zach, unless you have anything else. No, you're good. You're going to sleep, huh?
Yeah,
You gone? You gone?
All right.
man, it's been a long couple days.
Yeah. All right. So that's all we have for this week, but we will definitely see you guys next week. So for Andrew Winkleman and Zach Goins, I'm Brett Bates, and this has been Bitwar Podcast. See you guys. Have a good week.
Peace.
Killtrocity.
Nice.